my goal today is really just deliver as much value as possible to you guys. But I want to keep it short. I want to be very respectful of everyone's time. I want to make sure, I know that, it's almost dinner time or dinner time for some of you guys. So my goal today is to keep it within 45 minutes. That's going to be the ultimate goal, to be 45 minutes, to be respectful of your time, but to deliver as much value as possible within those 45 minutes. I want to make sure that, number one, you guys can leave this call. This is a call, just to be completely transparent with everyone here. This is a call in partnership with MTC. We have some exciting promotions for MTC at the end, but the goal for this call is everyone that jumps on this can have some things that they value that they can take away and apply to their lives after the call, regardless of if you get involved with MTC or not. There's going to be a ton of value here for you and actionable value for you. So that's going to be the goal. And that's my promise for you guys today. It's just give you guys something that you didn't know that you can take away and action upon your lives right now. And if you do it, you'll see good results. Does that sound cool, you guys? Awesome. All right, I'm going to see it. Thank you guys for turning on your cams. It means a lot. I love seeing all your beautiful faces. Oh, this is awesome. So many people have their cams on. I love those big smiles. Okay, now let's move on. Let's get started. All right. If you have any questions, you can put it in the chat. I'm going to be very frank with you guys because there's a lot of content I want to put through. So I might not be able to answer all of those, but I'm sure someone would copy those down. And if not, I will answer them at a later time. Okay, so first of all, I want you guys to really understand something. First of all, I was someone who struggled with fat loss my whole life. I wasn't fit. It's weird because people see me now, and if you know me a little bit, I run every single day, and fitness is a big passion of mine now. But this wasn't always the case. In fact, I really struggled with my self-identity. I really struggled with fat loss my whole life. I grew up as the fat kid. In fact, I think I have a couple of childhood friends on this call right now. They will attest to you that my nickname in high school was Fatty. In fact, a lot of my friends didn't know my name. They just knew me as Fatty, and all my family friends referred to me as, that fat brother. That's what they called me. So I just want you guys to understand that I wasn't fit. In fact, I struggled with my weight my whole life. When I was during puberty, I did lose a little bit, but I kept gaining it back. I must have went on a fat loss challenge or a diet. I've tried every single diet in the book, keto, carnivore. Oh, I didn't try carnivore. That's the only one I haven't tried. That's more recent. But keto, vegan, slow diet, Atkins, you name it. I've done 2 different types of shakes. I've done it all. I've always saw some results the first month. Sometimes I'll last to the second month. But usually I've never gotten an after photo. I think that's what I really wanted to share with you guys. Can any of you guys relate where you take before photos, you get motivated, you start maybe a month in, 2 months in, you give up, and you have so many before photos saved up on your phone and you never had an after photo, right? You just could never finish it. And this is the key. Like the cycle, the vicious cycle that I went through, and I believe that most people go through, is we're led to believe that it's our fault. We're led to believe that losing weight, sticking to a diet, exercising is a decision. And then when we fail these challenges that everyone else seems to be having success with, we blame ourselves. And we're like, man, I'm terrible. I'm not disciplined. Maybe I'm not designed for this. But what happens is, if you really dive into it, and we'll go into a little bit today, but the real reason a lot of people can't lose weight is because, they don't have a lot of confidence. They go to the gym to punish themselves. They diet to punish themselves. And then what happens is, if you have low self-esteem, you're never going to fulfill that health, if that makes sense, right? If you have a poor self-image of self, you're never going to let yourself become a healthy version of yourself because you'll self-sabotage along the way. So now let's go through that cycle. You finally get motivated. You train really hard in the gym. You bust your ass in the gym. You eat foods that you don't really enjoy, and you cut out a ton of whole complete food groups at times, and then you give up, and then you tell yourself, man, I'm not good enough. So you're killing your self-worth even more, and that cycle continues. Does that make sense? So what I've learned over the years, many years of failing and failing and failing and failing, I realized that I had to do another. What does like Einstein say? Like that the definition of insanity is doing something over and over and over again and expecting a different result. Would you guys agree? Right? And I realized that's what I was doing. I realized I was just dieting and failing. And I didn't realize what I was missing until I really went out and started looking at things. Now, what I realized is this, it's very simple. First of all, it's probably not a good way to start a presentation, but you probably, a lot of you guys on this call who came on to lose some body fat or maybe to lose a lot of body fat, lose a lot of weight, some of you guys probably won't like what I have to say throughout this call. And the reason for that is very simple. Social media, the stuff that we get on social media these days is not 100% credible. There's a lot of good stuff in there, but the reason it's not credible is because how we consume information now is based on attention. We click on things we want to believe in, not on things that work. Does that make sense? So I'll give you an example. How social media is motivated these days is if I were to put out a video of truth. What I mean by truth, I'm not sure if you guys know this, but the reality is you can't you can't target fat loss. A lot of people didn't know this. This is a big myth, right? Where you can't actually target stomach. You can't be like, oh, I just want to lose a little bit of fat on my stomach. Everything else is okay. I just want to lose a little bit of fat there. The reality is you can't target fat loss. That's the truth. You can't debate that, right? However, no one's going to click on that video if I write you can't target fat loss in the belly. But if I were to put out a video and say, follow these 3 tips to lose belly fat, everyone's clicking on it. Do you guys get where I'm coming from? So what ends up happening is content that is catered to what you want to believe, but may not necessarily be effective, gets very, very popular. So to find really good advice on fat loss, it's there. But to find really good advice on fat loss or in any field, which you guys will know, is very difficult because it's always buried by the things that the general public want to believe. And then you can see that trend because the general public is terrible at fat loss. 9 out of 10 people fail the challenge. So if you ever failed fat loss or diet or whatever it is, you fail to follow the plan, you're not alone. 9 out of 10 people fail. Okay, it's actually more, 90% of people fail. And out of the people that do succeed, 9 out of 10 of those gain it all back. So only 1% of people are successful, right? So would you guys agree that the general public is pretty bad at fat loss? There's something missing there. It can't be your fault if 99% of people are failing, right? There's something missing in the equation. So what I'm going to cover for you guys today, my attempt to cover for you guys today in the next half an hour or so. Number one, what I believe is the top 5 mistakes beginners make, right? How to set goals correctly. I believe a clearly defined goal is halfway there, right? How to maximize your metabolism, how to make it work with you, not against you. If you're on this call right now and you always struggle to lose that little bit of belly fat, or you struggle to lose a little bit of fat or weight, or you always struggle to lose weight, you might be thinking, man, my metabolism is just naturally slow. Has anyone thought of that before? See, I thought that too. Being not naturally, but being overweight for as long as I can remember, I just assumed my metabolism was broken, right? Something was wrong with it. So I'm going to teach you guys, help you guys understand in a very simple, generic form, how to maximize your metabolism, how it works, how to use it to your advantage. And my complete game plan of what I do with my clients and how to calculate your starting point, and also what I believe is the secret ingredient to long-term success. So I'm going to try cover all these 6 points for you guys within the next half an hour. And I'll talk a little bit about the partnership we have with MTC and what MTC is providing for us. But regardless, I'm going to cover all those things for you guys. So first thing is setting correct goals. Now, I really believe in this. I believe if you do it right, so remember I told you guys that a lot of you guys on this call will not like what I have to say on this call because you don't want it to be true. Most of your life, when it comes to dieting, I know I'm generalizing here. I don't know everyone on this call, but I'm basing this on my experience and my clients' experience and the people I know. We go for what's easy and quick. we want to lose weight easy. We want to lose weight quick. And generally that never worked out for me. So I just want you guys to keep a very open mind, is that when there's something, if I say something in here that you want to reject, you want to be like, is that really the truth? Maybe I'm different. Maybe I can bypass that fact. That is probably the missing link to why you haven't been successful, because you're rejecting it. That's probably one thing that you don't want to do. And that's probably the one thing you need to do. Does that make sense? I just want to set that context moving forward, because I really believe in this. When it comes to fat loss, your fitness, you do it right and you do it once. That's my motto. Do it right, do it once. It's not yo-yo, right? Okay, so number one, people generally set incorrect goals. So if you're in the fitness, if fitness is a big passion of yours, you probably see this, but let me just really share with you guys what that means. So if you look at here, most people that I talk to go, Philip, I want to lose weight, right? How do I lose weight? Now, I want you guys to understand weight isn't the enemy. And most of you guys would have a bad relationship with your weight. If you step on a scale, the weight goes up and you freak out, right? Now, I want you guys, just to give you an example, like the easiest way to lose weight, hey, I can cut off my arm and I'll instantly lose 5 to 10 kilos. Now, does that make me healthier or does it make me less fat? No, it doesn't. Does that make sense? The weight isn't the enemy. Right? It's not necessarily about weight. Now, if you get a little bit more experience, now people want to lose body fat. Now, this is where it's more accurate to lose body fat. You don't necessarily want to lose weight. You want to lose body fat. You guys follow me so far? Okay. Now, the real goal is your body fat percentage. Now, you might be thinking, Philip, what's the difference between losing body fat percentage, and losing weight? So losing weight is everything. So most people do this wrong. If you don't have a proper workout program, if you don't have a proper program, this is what most people do when they go, hey, I need to lose a couple kilos, I need to lose some weight. They'll probably go for a run. They might be go for a run or start doing classes in their local gym, and they'll start eating, chicken breast, broccoli, salads, whatever, right? So when you do that, you probably will lose weight, but you most likely lose muscle too. And I'll explain later on why that's terrible for you if you lose muscle, right? Now, lose body fat, this is more accurate, but you can actually not lose any body fat, or have your body fat percentage decrease. How you do that is by building muscle. Now, let me give you an example. If I weigh 100 kilos, I don't weigh that much, by the way, but if I weigh 100 kilos, just for math's sake, if I weigh 100 kilos, and I have 20 kilos of muscle, for example, and let's say 50 kilos of muscle, and then if I gain 5 kilos, that's 50% muscle mass, right? Now, if I gain 5 kilos of pure muscle, now 55 kilos of muscle with a total weight of 105 kilos. Has my muscle mass percentage increased? It has, right? And if my body fat hasn't changed, when my body weight has increased, can you guys see that my body fat percentage has decreased, even though I didn't lose any fat? Can you guys understand? Did I explain that properly? So you can build muscle and look better without actually losing body fat. This is really key. The reason for that, the reason I need to point that out is because a lot of times when I work with clients, when their weight goes up, they freak out. Your weight can go up and you can look better. So this is really important to understand. So you have to adjust your relationship with the number on the scale. So it's not necessarily bad if your weight goes up, especially if you're very new to the gym, you don't usually strength train, if you don't usually build muscle or you don't work out, you're gonna build a lot of muscle real quick, and it's be normal for your weight to go up. But you'll actually look better, and you'll be leaner. Okay, so for me, when I set goals, when it comes to my fitness, it's never just about body fat percentage, right? And again, I'll talk about this a bit later, but a lot of people, they'll come in and they're trying to lose fat. And after they lose the fat, maybe get ready for summer, lose a couple kilos, and they go, okay, diet's over. I don't like diet because diet talks about, suggests it's just completely temporary. What a lot of people do wrong is they don't know how to prepare for diet. They don't know how to safely get out of a diet, which I'll talk about later today. So what I talk about when it comes to my goals, I obviously would have my aesthetic and health goals. I want a healthy body fat percentage, right? So I have my healthy body fat percentage goal, but I also have my goals for metabolism. Now, if you look great and you're lean and you're ripped and you have abs, but you have to train and work out 3 hours a day and only eat chicken and broccoli, would you guys agree that's a pretty crappy goal? That's a pretty crappy lifestyle. Would you guys agree? Yes or yes, right? So the goal is not actually just to look good. The goal is to look good, but also build up your metabolism so you can still eat normal foods and look good and have a lifestyle that's kind of in between. You're probably healthier and more active than you are now, but you're not going to be as crazily active or as restricted as when you're in a dieting phase. Does that make sense to you guys? So most people just go, I want to lose weight. But what you want to do is you want to lose body fat, but also boost your metabolism to a point where it's sustainable long-term. And that's the absolute secret, because most people, they lose the fat. And if you don't understand this, right after a diet is the most prominent time to gain fat. If you don't believe me, look at every professional bodybuilder. Professional bodybuilders are professional dieters. They're the best at it, right? So I was following a bodybuilder actually on Instagram, and he's a vlogger as well. He got very, very lean. You can see abs, like you can see veins all over his abs. He got down to, must have been under 5% body fat. And he gained 23 pounds in 2 weeks after his competition. When you're dieting, your body is primed to store fat because it's starving. Does that make sense? If it's starving and you're introducing food, it wants to hold on to everything and store as body fat. So what you're doing, what a lot of people do is when they lose fat and they finally, maybe you're happy and you're satisfied to where you're up to, or maybe even if you fail diet, once you've restricted your calories and you've restricted your food for so long, once you start introducing it, your body wants to hold on to everything. And this is how we yo-yo, right? We lose weight, we lose a little bit of weight, but we gain it all back very, very quickly, because that's the prime time to gain fat. And you need to have a very safe and a very good exit strategy out of diet. It's not, okay, I'm done, over. You have to exit out of it safely so you don't put on too much fat. Okay. Now moving on, I'm just checking my time. I want to be respectful of your time. So the key is this. So if there's anything you guys get out of today's call, really understand this. Our body's ability to adapt is probably the best on the planet, right? Humans are great not because we're the strongest, it's because we're so good at adapting. Okay, so most people do it wrong where they use it against them. So I'll give you an example. This is basically how you burn your energy. So a lot of people, when they start their diet, they go, I'm gonna go exercise, I'm gonna start running, and I'm gonna eat less, right? I'm gonna start eating chicken breast, I'm gonna start eating broccoli, whatever. But you're targeting a very small part of the equation, which is 10% exercise. You guys see at the top, yeah? I'm gonna try to point at it. You see that? 10% exercise. So everyone's focusing on this. Like, how do I move more? How do I do more? How do I work out more? How do I burn more calories? Right? You might be looking at watches. I burned this many calories today. You might be on a treadmill counting the calories. And you just focus on how do I burn more? The key is actually the bottom part. If you guys see, the bigger part of the equation is metabolism. So, so your metabolism accounts for 70% of your energy burn, right? Just to keep you alive. If you do nothing just to be alive, it's going to be 70% of your energy. So that's the most part. So what we want to do is we want to boost that metabolism. So I know a lot of people in here are MTC crowd. So a lot of people here understand investing. So this is how I explain it. When you go exercise, it's like trading your time for money. It's like going to a job, 9 to 5, right? Earning a wage. When you boost your metabolism, And when you build muscle, so because muscle mass is one of the ways to build boost metabolism, it's like investing, right? It's like passive income. So even when you're sleeping, you burn more energy. Does that make sense to you guys? Right? So what we want to focus on throughout this journey is we want to focus on sleep, stress, food choice, muscle mass. These are some of the very generic factors in your that's within your power to really help keep your metabolism healthy. Right? A lot of people just go, I'm going to eat less, move more. Eat less, move more. So I want you guys to understand this. So how you train it. So when it comes to adapting our body, how we train. So I want you guys to understand this concept. A lot of people think we go to the gym to build muscle. Technically, I don't really agree with that statement, because if you just keep going to the gym, if let's just say I have 5 kilo dumbbells and I go to the gym and I lift my 5 kilo dumbbells, right? And maybe the first couple of months I'll build some muscle. Would you guys agree? And then if I just keep going, I don't increase my rep range, I don't increase the difficulty, and I just keep doing the same thing over and over again, would you guys agree I won't build any more muscle the following months? Would you guys agree? Yes? Now, so what that means is when I go to the gym, I'm not building muscle, but what it is I'm creating an artificial environment so my body adapts. I'm sending a signal to my body and saying, hey, if you want to survive, you need to be stronger because I'm doing a lot of heavy lifting. You guys follow me so far? So the exercise you go through and the program you go through determines how your body adapts. So for me, you guys, everyone who knows me know I run every day. I'm closing on 1,300 days of running, right? I actually believe running is one of the worst exercises for fat loss. For example, I'm a living example. Actually, when I first started my fat loss journey, I ran a whole year, 365 days. I lost 2 kilos. It's not great for fat loss. The reason because it's how you exercise and the environment you pull your body through is how it adapts. So I want you guys to understand this. If you're going long distances, what you're doing is you're teaching your body to be very fuel efficient. Think of a car that goes long distance. The engine is weaker and it's more sustainable. It doesn't burn as much energy and it's very efficient with its energy use. You guys agree? Does that make sense? So when we do a lot of cardio, we're building an energy efficient engine or energy efficient metabolism. So our metabolism will slow down. That's not our metabolism being broken. It's our metabolism adapting and doing its job. In fact, if you look at all the long distance runners, ultra marathons and whatnot, they eat a lot, but they don't eat nearly as much compared to how much exercise they do, right? Because their body has adapted, right? Someone like, for example, someone like me who runs every single day for over 1,000 days, me running 5 kilometers will burn significantly less energy than if someone who doesn't runs 5 kilometers. Does that make sense? My body is very efficient at it. And more importantly, because I do it so much, I actually slow down my metabolism to a certain point because my body has to be efficient in its energy use. So you want to think to yourself, if I'm training my body to have an efficient energy, so it's not slow metabolism or fast metabolism, it's efficient metabolism or inefficient or powerful metabolism. Does that make sense? So if I train for long distance, if I do a ton of cardio, I'm training my metabolism to be energy efficient, which isn't what you want because it's going to burn less calories. So, so now what you want to do is you want to cater to these things. So I guarantee if you guys just optimize your sleep for the next 2 weeks, you probably see some fat loss. If you reduce your stress, you probably see some fat loss, right? If you just change your food choices, if you keep your calories the same and change some of your food choices, you probably see some fat loss. If you just build muscle, you will see some fat loss. These are the things that will indirectly burn you more calories because it boosts your engine and boosts your metabolism. Does that make sense? Okay, so I'm going to move on. Okay, mistake number 3. This is a big one. Dieting is not a switch, it's a dial. So for me, if you ever go on a program when there's only one gear, all in or all out, for example, I'm going to eat only these foods and I'm going to lose weight, or I'm going to do this program, and there's only one step. What happens when you plateau? right? And this is why I don't like a lot of the generic programs out there. It needs to be customized if you want real long-term results. It's because if we really look back at terms of how we failed all our previous diets, I know when I ever failed, it's generally because I messed up. I don't know how to recover. I'd be like, oh, it's just one bite, but then it turns out, oh, just one meal, and it's just one night. Oh, you know what? I'll start again next week. And that's how I usually fail. Or I work really hard and my weight just doesn't drop and I plateau and I just don't know what to do. So what's important to understand is the idea of all in, all out is terrible. Not only is it terrible for long-term fat loss and sustained fat loss, if you want to lose a lot of weight, if you just want to lose 5 kilos, you can probably lose 5 kilos, but it's terrible for your mentality, right? It's terrible for your relationship with exercise and food. So what you got to do, this is a huge deal, right? And I really hone in on this philosophy to all my clients and myself. It's not do as much as possible. It's do as little as possible to elicit change. This is so important. Okay. So think back to all the times you've dieted, all the different times you wanted to lose fat. You probably went, how often can I work out? How little can I eat? And you're going extremes, right? The issue with extremes is, remember, our body is very efficient at adapting. Regardless of how extreme you go, it will adapt within a couple months. And that's why you plateau. But because you already went all out and really extreme, you can't possibly go more. And that's why you plateau and you give up. Does that make sense? Is that ringing true to some of you guys? Is that resonating? Right? So what you want to do is do as little as possible. For example, if right now one of you guys come to me and let's pretend one of you guys turn into one of my clients. If you're like, Philip, I eat terrible, I sleep bad, I don't move at all, I don't go to the gym, I don't do anything, and it's just terrible. This is my favorite client. I don't want everything to be perfect because it means we can change so many things for you to lose weight. And I wouldn't even change all those things right away. I'll change a couple of things because it's easier for you to pick up new habits if you change a couple of things versus changing everything. Does that make sense? But more importantly, you can lose weight by just changing a couple of things. So you don't need to be perfect. For you guys who have always failed to lose weight, you probably tried to be perfect this whole time and you went all in. You don't need to. I don't want you to change everything. I just want you to change one or two things, and then the weight will drop and it'll plateau. But guess what? You have a million things to change. Now we'll change another one or two things. And then the weight will drop, and when we plateau, we'll change another one or two things. And the weight will drop, and then we'll plateau, and then we'll train a little bit more. Or maybe we'll eat a little bit less. So there's a lot of gears. Then this is why I explained it. It's a lot of people treat dieting as like an on and off switch. I'm all in. I'm going to do this for the next 8 weeks. I'm going to do this for the next 12 weeks. And I want to get ripped. But what you need to do is don't plan for the next 8 weeks, plan further ahead, right? Plan for what's going to happen when you plateau. It's normal to plateau. You should expect to plateau. Because let me give you an example, right? Would you guys, if you guys go to those high schools where you have to carry those backpacks with a ton of textbooks, and it's really heavy, right? You guys, was that anyone being the Asian kid? I had a ton of textbooks, right? So it's heavy, right? A backpack's probably like 5 kilos, right? Full of textbooks, 5 kilos. Can you imagine if you walked around all day, every day with that backpack on, would you agree that you'll burn more calories? You would, right? Just having it on because it's heavy. Right. Now, I want you guys to understand this. Imagine you lose 5 kilos. If you burn more calories by carrying 5 kilos, wouldn't it be natural to assume you naturally burn more calories by carrying 5 kilos less? Does that make sense? So what that means is if your body is simply just going to pare down and adapt. You're going to have less weight to carry around. So even if you do the exact same thing, let's say you walk 20,000 steps, but in 3 months' time, walking 20,000 steps is going to burn less calories than walking 20,000 steps today. That's just simply how it is because you're lighter. Right, so you have to be able, when you plan a diet or a program, a good program, doesn't matter, if you get a program from me or online, here's my advice to you, How to determine a good program is if it anticipates plateau and has different steps. What happens when what happens when our weight stops dropping? What happens when our fat loss stops? Oh, we do this now. Right? A good coach will always plan the next few steps ahead of you. Because they know it's going to happen. Okay? Now moving on. Okay, so this is the key. This is one of the things that no one wants to hear. And a good fat loss coach will be firm on this, and an average fat loss coach will probably not be firm on this. Okay, so most people, I wouldn't say most people, a lot of people are not ready to lose fat. I was one of those people, right? To get the results I got, if you guys saw the videos or my before and afters, I had to really swallow my impatience, my ego, and realize that by yo-yo dieting, which is eating very limited foods, doing a ton of cardio, and then gaining fat, by yo-yo dieting my whole life, I've turned my metabolism extremely efficient. My body can survive on very low calories. Now, if I was stranded on an island, that would be amazing. However, for fat loss, it isn't, right? So I realized that for me to actually get to a point where I'm going to lose a significant amount of fat, I have to first build my metabolism. Now, that means not losing fat the next 3 to 6 months. Myself, I built up for 3 months first. I didn't start dieting. I started changing my program. I started changing my food, but changing my food to build muscle and build my metabolism rather than trying to diet and lose fat. That's very hard for a lot of people to take in. Now, everyone's in different stages, and I'll briefly go over how to determine if your body is primed to melt fat and diet or lose fat. But a lot of people are not ready, especially if you dieted recently or you're a serial yo-yo dieter like I was, right? If your metabolism is slow, we need to first build it up. Now, alternatively, if your metabolism is normal, but you want to get really, really shredded and really look really good, I still recommend building up your metabolism. Because I think of it like this. The formula is very simple, and I'll cover it soon. But the formula is very much, when we burn more calories than we consume, we lose body fat. Does that make sense? Right? So that formula is very, very simple, right? That's all we got to do. Like if we just burn more than we consume. However, let's just say you're eating 2,000 calories right now and you're maintaining your body weight, right? So let's just say that's your maintenance. What if I told you you could eat exactly what you're eating now, 2,000 calories, and lose weight? Does that sound good to you guys? Right? It sounds good. Okay, so this is how we do it. We spend 3 to 6 months building up your metabolism. So now now that your metabolism is roaring, and then you need to consume 2,500 calories to maintain your body weight. You have to eat more to maintain. Guess what happens when you cut back down to what you're used to? You start to lose body fat. Does that make sense? The higher your metabolism, the faster your metabolism, the more breathing room we have, because just like I said, it's all about a dial, right? If your metabolism is very limited right now, it's not that you can't lose fat. It's just that we don't have many levels we can dial it back, right? If you're already, only consuming, let's say 1,500 calories, you're getting to a realm where you're not healthy if you reduce it anymore. So a good coach wouldn't make you reduce it more, and they would make you build up metabolism. So your natural basal metabolism rate, metabolic rate is higher. So how do we build up metabolism? I'll share. I shared a little bit earlier, Russell. It's you build muscle, get good sleep, change your food choice, have good food choices, and manage your stress. Those are the easiest ways to boost metabolism right now. But the best thing to do is to build muscle, right? And to go to train, not to burn calories, but to build muscle. It's very different. If you go to the gym just to go, I need to burn 200 calories today because I ate that cookie. that's going to be terrible for metabolism. It's going to be terrible for your relationship with food and exercise because you're going to the gym to punish yourself. I don't care who you don't like going to the gym to burn 200 calories for a cookie, right? When we go to build strength and we see that we're getting stronger every single week, that builds a really good relationship with the gym because we're seeing progress. So a good program will always adjust for plateau. So I'll give you guys a formula later to see which phase you can start. Some people will have to build metabolism first. Some people are ready to melt fat right away. But most importantly, you have to adjust for plateau. You have to expect it, right? So what most people do, one of the most common myths is you hit a plateau and you just be like, this is it. I can't lose fat. There's something wrong with me. It's not. It's normal. Really anticipate it. And if you're working with any coach or any program, make sure it has something in there where you can amp it up more. And it's set by a professional, not yourself. Oh, I'm going to just train twice a day every day. It doesn't work, okay? And then more importantly, you have to be able to recover out of a diet. You can't just go really, really hard and then stop. Just like what I said, like even professional bodybuilders, they can gain 20 pounds in 2 weeks. That's over 10 kilos in 2 weeks, right? You need to be able to reverse out of it safely. So you don't gain back all the body fat. Now, key point, that's actually the best time to build muscle. So your body's actually primed to build muscle right at the end of your diet. So I'm gonna go through some of these formulas very quickly with you guys because I know it can get very confusing. But basically, if you were to calculate your starting point, if you take your body weight in pounds, I'm sorry, I know most of you guys are in Australia and you don't deal with pounds. I just got my certification in the US, so my formula is all in pounds. I apologize in advance. But just take plateau. Sorry, Jason. Plateau is when you get stuck, right? When you can't go anymore, when you flatten out, like a glass ceiling almost, right? So, okay. So if you take your body weight in pounds, if you don't know how to calculate that, do what I do. I just Google it. I put my body weight and I'm putting pounds, right? So you take your body weight in pounds and you multiply it by 14. You should get a number. Now, this is a very general number. But this is a general number for you, what your metabolism should be, your maintenance should be for someone your size, right? Okay. Now, this is also important. So really put this on. This is important because I make sure I hone this in with every one of my clients. This is one of my rules. Track your weight every morning. Do it naked or do it in the same clothes if you don't want to do it naked. It's important to wear the exact same thing. We want to minimize as many variables as possible, right? So I like to do it naked because, it's the same every day. So track your weight naked before you drink or eat anything. And I like doing it in the morning because it's consistent. I'm not sure if you guys know this, but your weight will fluctuate throughout the day. Your weight will fluctuate. There's so many factors for your weight fluctuating. So this is how you calculate your weight. It's going to fluctuate every day. My weight can fluctuate from 3 kilos based on what I eat, right? I know this because I weigh myself every day. It's a habit, right? Based on what I eat, what time I eat, how salty my food is, how many carbs I eat, if I have creatine, there's so many factors. Your weight will fluctuate. Now, if you gain 2 kilos the next day because you had something like with a lot of salt and your body holds water, this doesn't mean you gain fat. Does that make sense? So what you want to do, what I teach my clients to do is you weigh yourself every morning. Now, really don't pay attention to the weight as much, but weigh yourself in the morning and take the average of the week. And we calculate our fat loss by the average of each week. So for example, I'll have my total average for last week and my weight will go up and down throughout this week, right? And I won't compare that number to last week. I'll wait till this week ends, average at that number, and I'll compare the two. Did I actually lose weight? Because if you pay too much attention to this number on the scale, what's going to happen is your day is going to either suck or be really great, just depending on the number. You're letting that number determine your worth. Does that make sense? So it's going to fluctuate. So after coffee gives the best pips. Yep, that's true. So now you wanna track your weight, and based on that number, the number that we came to for what your calorie maintenance should be for your size, did you lose, maintain, or gain? Okay, so let's just say if you lost weight by eating the recommended calories for your size, that means you're in a very good state. Your metabolism is in a good state. Your metabolism is higher than it should be for someone your size. Does that make sense? So you're great. You're primed to get you're primed to get ripped. You're primed to lose a lot of weight, right? Lose fat. If you're maintaining, you're healthy. Now, if you're maintaining there, you can choose to build up more. Usually, if you want to get really, really impressive physique or you have a lot of weight to lose, I will still recommend building metabolism up a little bit. However, you're free to start you're free to start dieting also. And that's just by cutting some of those calories. Or if you gain weight. Now, if you ate the recommended amount for your size and you gain weight, it means your metabolism is very slow at the moment. And that means I would never put a client to lose weight in those conditions, because we are just going to hurt your metabolism more. It's going to be harder. It's going to be mentally tougher. You're not going to be healthier. What a lot of people don't realize is when you're dieting, it's a very stressful process on your body. Your body is already not in prime healthy conditions because it's in survival mode, right? What I mean by survival mode is that's why our body needs to be efficient with metabolism, because we don't think there's a lot of food coming in. So if you gain weight on that number, after a week or two, I recommend really strategizing to build muscle. Now, the good thing is you can build muscle and still look better. You can build muscle and still lower your fat percentage. Does that make sense? So this doesn't necessarily mean you're going to look terrible. You will actually look better and you'll feel better. So if you were going through this process of building your metabolism, building muscle, here are some of the common things. Like, it's really based on how you feel. So this is where a coach is really important, because you can speak to a coach about how you're feeling. But some things you should really, your appetite should go up. Your energy and your mood should go up. Your sex drive should really go up. These are all great signs that your metabolism is growing and you're building muscle, right? So if that's the phase you're going to, those are the things you're looking out for. Appetite, mood, sex drive, really drastically jumping after a couple of weeks. Now, mistake number 4, losing weight too quickly. If you were to lose weight, a lot of people's mistake, remember, they go all in or all out, right? They go all in. What's the maximum I can do? I want to lose weight. I want to see that number drop on the scale. Now, with the exception of the first week, because your first week, your scale will drop quite drastically first week just because you change your food choices and your body's holding on to less water. But with the exception of the first week, I will never let my client lose more than 1% body fat a week. In fact, I have many times where they lost weight too fast, and I have to increase their food to make sure that they're in that sweet spot. The reason being is when we lose more, we're going to lose some muscle when we lose fat, but we're going to lose a lot of muscle when we start losing more than 1% body fat. Remember, guys, which means your metabolism is going to drop. If you lose muscle while you're on a diet, your metabolism is going to drop, right? And your metabolism is going to drop and you're going to plateau. And more importantly, it's going to be harder to lose weight further. So what you want to do is you want to keep muscle mass high and lose body fat only. And the best way to minimize muscle loss is to be under 1%. So remember what I shared with you guys. Take your average weight for 1 week and then take for week 2, if your average weight is over 1% lower, you're dieting too hard, which is a great problem to have, which means you should be eating more, right? So don't go too hard. Don't lose weight too quick. You're actually doing more harm than good. A lot of people, they don't actually lose body fat. They just lose weight, like equal amounts of fat and muscle. And they end up still looking very mediocre at the end of their diet. They're smaller, but they don't look better because they're not leaner. Does that make sense? You can be 20% body fat at 100 kilos and you won't look that much more impressive at 20% body fat at 80 kilos. The key isn't the weight. Remember what I covered at the beginning? The key is the body fat percentage. Now moving on. I'm going to go through this very quickly because the maths a lot of times gets really over people's head. Now you can look up calorie count, macro calculators online. I prefer to do it manually. If you have a coach, you can definitely do it. If you really struggle with this, you can message me. Maybe I can help you out with it, or maybe I'll do another call to help you guys out with it, right? But basically, just to really going through it very, very quickly, Protein gives you 4 calories, carbohydrates gives you 4 calories, and fat is 9 calories. Now, what's really important is your essential macronutrients. I don't really like, you have to have these minimum requirements for your protein and fat. Carbs, it doesn't matter, it's not essential, although carbs will boost performance and recovery. However, you have to have at least this much protein and at least this much fat. And one of the biggest mistakes people do is they just eat broccoli salad and chicken breast, and they're super low in fat. If you go a long time with very low fat, you're going to feel terrible, because our body uses fat to create our hormones. So all your hormones will be low, your testosterone will be low, everything will be low. You'll feel like crap, your metabolism will completely drop. So you want to have a minimum fat intake and a minimum protein intake. And these are actually the 2 macronutrients that's going to keep you full and satisfied the longest also. They have the highest satiety index. So this, just to go through very quickly, taking your weight in pounds again, you want a minimum 0.8 times your body weight in protein, and minimum 0.3 times your body weight in fat. You can have more, but minimum, you have to have those. Carbs, it doesn't really matter. It's just really based on your individual preference and tolerance.
No, I was talking to non-talk.
Oh, thank you. So moving on quickly, because I know we're low on time. So just to go through it very quickly for you guys, and I can make another video on this. If we calculate a BMR, which I calculated before, your metabolism, this is an example. Let's just say I'm 170 pounds, which is roughly 77 kilos, I believe. If I times by 14, my calories should be at 2,380. Sorry for the text, guys. So 2,380. If I wanted to lose body fat, I will start by minusing 500 calories. And that will take my fat loss calories at 1,880. Now, if I look at my minimum protein and minimum fat, again, I'll calculate the calories on that. And this is 544 calories from protein, 458 calories from fat, which leaves me 877 calories that I can do whatever I want with. I can eat more protein, I can eat more fat, I can put it all in carbs if I want. It doesn't really matter, right? But what I really encourage you guys to do is, when you track your food, you're gonna start to realize what agrees with your body. Everyone's different. There's a huge variance. For example, I'm Asian, so I love carbs, right? I can eat noodles and rice all day, every day. I love carbs. Unfortunately, I realized over the years, my body operates better on a higher fat, lower carb diet. I just feel better. So even though I want to eat noodles every single day, I want to eat rice. I want to eat noodles with a side of rice and bread for dessert. That's what I want, like just carbs. However, if I want to function well, if I want to perform well, I want to have a clear head, I want to perform well in the gym, I know that I can't have too high of carbs. Everyone will be a little different. Some people operate better on high carbs. Some people operate better on higher fat, but everyone should be having high protein. So mistake 5, not addressing the real problem. This is the key. This is the main thing I want to address today for you guys who are on the call, which is number 1 is, it's not just about moving more and eating less. It's about your relationship behaviors and habits. If you don't want long-term success in this and you don't want to just yo-yo, this is the key that you have to address, which is your relationship with food. When people diet, if they don't do it properly, if they don't do it with a proper guidance, if they do it alone, they build a worse relationship with food, right? For example, you're going to start thinking, this food's bad for me, this was good for me. I don't believe there are any bad foods. I believe there are different use cases and purposes for each food, right? For example, I love KFC, right? And I would eat KFC. In fact, if you see my before and after photos, I ate KFC most weeks, once a week. It has its value, but its value isn't necessarily fueling my body. Its value, it might be mental value. Does that make sense? We have comfort foods. We have foods that we enjoy. This doesn't mean cut out everything. It means eating with intention. It means that when I eat, I'm going, am I having this meal for convenience? Am I having this meal to fuel my body to feel good? Or am I having this meal because I want to enjoy myself today, this meal? Or am I having this meal to connect? There's a lot of different value to your food. Sometimes it's to connect with your family, because that's the best ways for humans to connect, over a meal. Would you guys agree? Right? So everything has value, but most of our meals are not done to connect or enjoy. Most of our meals throughout the week, if I were to ask any of you guys to list everything you ate the last week, most of you guys won't remember it because it wasn't memorable. You're doing it simply to fuel your bodies. So what I'm saying is just for the 80 to 90% of those meals that you're doing it not to necessarily indulge yourself or connect with family, realize that those are the meals to fuel yourself and make healthy choices for those meals, right? So build a healthy relationship with food and to say, okay, I'm eating this to feel good, so I should make this food choice. Not I'm eating this to taste good. And you're just seeking flavor every single day. Now, if you're doing that and you're struggling, because I get a lot of people that go, Philip, I just love food too much. Have you guys heard that before? I just love food too much and I can't diet. Now, I personally, I hate that excuse because for me, it's not that you love food too much, you're simply addicted to food, right? Addiction is defined as when you love something so much, it impedes on your health and your life. And that's what it is. You enjoy food so much, it's getting in the way of your health and it's getting in the way of your life. And you have no control over it. That's addiction. And if I were to come up to anyone and say, I just love drugs so much, so I'm going to keep taking drugs, it doesn't make sense. Would you guys agree? Right? That's it, because that's addiction. So I look at it as, it's a food addiction. So how do we look at addicts and how do we help addicts? Food is the most addictive thing on the planet. So don't be ashamed if that's you. But how do we deal with addicts? We don't take drugs, right? We don't go stop drinking. We address the relationship with that, whatever they're addicted to. And we talk about it. Most people are addicted to things because it's how they process or stress or grief, right? It's their coping mechanism. So it's not necessarily you love food so much, it's because you're coping with it. So I want you guys to understand that. Your relationship with the gym, how you're not going to punish yourself to burn some calories. We're going to train to get strong. We're going to the gym to empower ourselves. And also how to build habits so that you create a healthy lifestyle. So subconsciously, you're healthier, you're making healthier choices, not just every once or twice a year, we're turning the switch on. So that's super important that we're addressing these things. This for me is more valuable than how much you're eating, your calories and whatnot. Because if you just address your relationship with yourself and you start getting healthy for yourself, not lose weight because you hate yourself, everything changes. How you treat everything, how you change decisions, how you make your decisions all completely change, right? So that's what I'm saying. You got to eat with intention. You got to train for strength. And you gotta do this for yourself, not for someone else, not because you don't like yourself, but because you deserve it. You deserve to be healthy. You deserve to feel best. Your body deserves to be treated like a temple. And that's important. Now, so what we're gonna do with MTC, this is what we're gonna do. Now, this is no one on this call, it's not compulsory for everyone on this call, but as you guys know, everything I talked about today, the reason we have a lot of success is because we cater to those things, those mindset things, behaviors. How do we build relationships? How do we build habits? How do we make sure you have a great behaviors around food? How make sure that, for example, one of my biggest values as a coach is when people mess up and they binge, it's going to happen. If you think you're going to diet and think you're going to be 100% every single day, it's very unlikely. There's a 99% chance you'll binge and you'll screw up. So what do you do when you screw up? Most people, they screw up, they hate themselves for it, they screw up further the next day. And they screw up further the next day and eventually they give up. Can you resonate with that? Because that happened to me literally every single time. So as a coach, what we do for them is we're there for them when they screw up so we can help correct their course and make sure they're not really self-deprecating and really speaking down on themselves. Because think about it this way, if your coping mechanisms eat food and you're really negative to yourself in your head because you binge ate, what's going to happen to cope with that stress? You're going to binge eat again. Does that make sense? You need someone else to come tell you, hey, it's okay. Just like if you ate healthy and exercise for one day, that's not going to make you ripped. If you binge one day, you're not going to instantly get fat. It's not going to ruin everything, right? But your head's not going to think like that. You need other people to do that for you. So I can't, obviously, my clients for fat loss is very limited because it's not my main job. and I only take very limited clients. I actually still have a wait list at the moment. I can't cater to everyone. But the next best thing to cater to these things, the accountability, the support you need, not someone not someone that's gonna judge you when you binge eat or you screw up or you miss gym, but people that are there to really support you, right? To not demonize or make you feel bad, but to support you so you start feeling good for yourself and start doing this for yourself. A community to ask questions, an ability to share tips and recipes. So in MTC, we have a really cool community app that we're all in. And we just changed one of the groups to Summer Shred. I'm going to be in there daily answering questions and offering tips, sometimes recipes. So that's the best way I can offer accessibility to me without you guys paying me $2,000 a month, right? But more importantly, we're going to have everyone doing it together, right? Everyone's going to be in there together, whether you're in a phase of building muscle, whether you're in a phase of building your metabolism, or you're in a phase of really shredding down fat. We can all do it together. And we want to make this the best community that ever is on the internet. So this is what we're going to in partnership with MTC. This is what I believe the best value there is. If you're an MTC member, you only get this, no extra charge. If you're not MTC, you'll have to get involved with MTC for this. Now, also what I'll be doing throughout these 8 weeks is I planned out 8 different calls between 30 to 60 minutes to dive deep in all these things. So this is a course. And if we have time at the end of it, I'll do some live coaching as well. So instead of paying me $2,000 a month, and I think I have a couple clients in this call right now who's just honored to support me. They don't even get a call with me every single week, right? We really, most of the time we just do text messages here and there. Maybe we'll catch up once a month, right? So, but I'll do a call once a week to dive deep on each of these different topics. These are 8 weeks I've picked out for you guys, right? So next week is when we really start, was week 1. So you don't have to start now. I want you guys to really take this information, digest it. We start on Monday if you join MTC, and I'll start my first MTC exclusive call next Monday. And we're going to first cover how to train. And just for the record, guys, I don't believe people should really train more than 4 times a week. 2 to 4 times a week is the sweet spot, right? And depending where you are, we'll determine that. So I'll cover in depth on how to train, more in depth on mindset stuff, like how to be consistent, rules to form a healthy relationship. I'll do some live coaching throughout it because there will always be adjustment periods. So if lesson 4, week 4, some of you guys will plateau already. And you're like, I don't know what's happening. This is where the live coaches come in. How would I, if I was your one-on-one coach, how would I adjust your plan so you can break through the plateau? Or number 5, how to adjust your training. I believe there should be minor adjustments to your training every month, right? And big adjustments to training every 2 to 3 months, just to keep your body to keep adapting. So we're using the adaptation to our advantage. How to optimize sleep, how to manage stress, how to safely recover from diet. So these are the eight cores I've prepared for MTC. If you get involved in MTC, you have access to all of this for the next couple of weeks. If you don't, I hope everything I shared today gave you guys some perspective and gave you a lot of value. So this is what I'm going to do for MTC. For the first 3 people who do sign up for MTC tonight, based on this, shoot me a message. If you sign up, I'll personally send you a food scale. I'll send it through Amazon. I'll buy you a food scale just as a gift for thanking you guys for supporting me, for coming on. Let me know. You can message me or you can message MTC social media directly. It's only limited to 3 people. I can't give away 80 scales, guys. It'll cost me too much. But that's what I'll be doing. If you want to come on board for this community, if you really dial back, I charge $2,000 a month, but you get access for $200 a week. I mean, it's $200 a month. I think it's a pretty good deal. But if it's not for you, that's completely okay. We want to make this call not sales focused. We want to make it just complete high value for all of you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you're not ready to be involved in MTC right now, that's okay. We'll see you back the next time we'll do something like this. But that brings the end to our call. It was exactly 1 hour, a bit over than what I planned. But thank you so much. I hope you got a ton of information. I hope you guys got a lot of value. If you guys enjoyed it, please let us know, message MTC socials, and we're more than happy to do more of these free value-driven calls for you guys. Anyways, have a great day. Really appreciate you guys. Have a great night, guys. See ya.